Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We want to go ahead and be prompt on our time, so I will go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. And Christina will be taking the roll call today. Thank you.
In order to help assure compliance with the Brown Act, and in order to make the board meetings more effective and more efficient, trustees will speak only when recognized, and trustees who speak on a topic other than the agenda item currently under consideration will be out of order. Board meeting protocols. The safety and decorum of the school board meetings are important to Stockton Unified School District and the community. SUSD promotes the public's right to free speech, and we want to make sure that all community members students are able to participate in a safe environment. We want to ensure all community members have a seat during the board meeting. We will have the maximum number of chairs allowed per fire code, 132. We ask that members of the public do not stand along the side of the walls or block the walkway. Anyone standing up during the meeting will be asked to take a seat. If they do not comply, they will be asked to leave. Any accredited news media representative who is standing will have a press credential clearly visible. There is a podium positioned in front of the first row of chairs. No one other than the person who is speaking may be at the podium except for a guardian, administrator, or translator. For safety, people may not line up behind the speaker to wait their turn. We want to give the person at the podium the time and respect they deserve. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes. Attendees are not allowed to enter the area past the podium where the board members are sitting. No profanity or obscenity. During the board meeting, if there is a disruption, the board president or designee will give a verbal warning to the person or persons causing the disruption. If the disruption continues after the verbal warning, the individuals will be asked to leave or be removed from the premises for the remainder of the board meeting. After the meeting is concluded, we ask community to clear the lobby area in a respectful manner. Thank you. Back to you, Madam President.
And roll call will also be taken by Christina.
President Angel Ann Flores,
Present.
Vice President Kenitha Stevens,
Present.
Clerk Sophia Colon,
Present.
Trustee Donald Denaire,
Present.
Trustee Cecilia Mendez,
Present.
Trustee Alicia Rico,
Present.
Trustee Raymond Zulueta.
Here.
Thank you.
We'll move on now to 2.1, Pledge of Allegiance to the flag led by Ms. Christina Alejo.
Ready, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2.2, approval of the order of agenda, and any changes in the order of agenda should be presented at this time. Do we have any requests? I see none. Moving on to item 3.1, oral suggestions and comments from the community regarding open session agenda items. And Yvette will announce the number of public comments and request each person to provide their public comment in the order they were received. And Abby will be the timekeeper.
Thank you, Madam President. We actually have no comment cards.
Okay, thank you. We will move on now to item 4.1, which is the Stockton Unified School District compliance with the San Joaquin County Office of Education and the California Department of Education regarding the extraordinary audit. Go ahead, Ms. Joanne. We need okay, Christina, okay, it's being worked on. Give 1 second. Is the mic on? Can we turn the volume up? You have to talk directly.
Good evening, Board President, Vice President, Clerk, and trustees. I'm here to talk about the update to the FICMAC Extraordinary Audit AB 139. San Joaquin County COE reported the findings and recommendations from the FICMAC Extraordinary Audit on February 14th, 2023. SUSD submitted board notice of proposed actions on March 1st, 2023, and we received a letter of conditions from the California Department of Education Audit and Investigation Division, which includes the district's dates for the notice of proposed actions. In the letter, there were specific conditions that SUSD will be subject to follow. SUSD governing board must review and as necessary revise procurement and record retention policy and regulations to ensure they comply with the state and federal laws and regulations. SUSD governing board shall complete training in the following areas: governance training, conflict of interest, Brown Act compliance, and ethic training. SUSD governing board must review and as necessary revise all policy and procedures regarding the completion of the economic interest disclosure Form 700 to ensure they comply with the Political Reform Act. And SUSD executive management and all managers who report to the CBO must attend ethic training. Next slide. By May 31st, 2023, SUSD must provide the procurement, record retention, and the Form 700 revised policy and regulations to CDE. Board Policy Committee had their first meeting on April 17th, 2023, and a working meeting on 5/10/23. The revised policy will have their first reading tonight. And I know on the board policy, it says June 6th, but we do have to have it approved by May 31st, because that's what was in the letter. So we have to have the second reading by then.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and echo you
Okay.
on that. We will be voting on that tonight. We did bring these policies to our policy committee meeting. And so we worked with district staff and community, and everything is good to go. So I hope want to say this politely. It's been on the agenda, so we should have it all already. And we've reviewed it and we went line by line item.
Okay.
So it's good.
So we're not going to have a second.
So we don't have
Okay.
to have a second reading because we did all the processes that we needed to do to get it approved today.
Okay, thank you. By June 30th, 2023, SUSD must provide specific procedure and guidelines to align with the BPs and ARs to CDE by June 30th, 2023. Staff is currently working on those updates and updates for those procedures and guidelines. Next slide. By July 31st, 2023, training on the following must be completed: ethic, conflict, and Form 700. That needs to be completed, and executive management and all management that reports to the CBO actually completed the training on May 2nd and 3rd. Procurement and record retention training will be held on July 18th and July 19th. And for the board specific training, on March 4th, board completed governance training through CSBA, and conflict of interest, Brown Act, and ethic training will be all held on June 3rd. Any questions?
The training went well?
Yes, it did. It did. I thought it was very informative. I think it's training that I've been through before, working in the banking industry and at county and other districts. It's really good training. You learn a lot. You learn about the 700 form, because I think a lot of people don't understand the 700 form. So that's a big thing that we do have to complete. I know one mistake I did when I first left a district. I forgot to fill out my exit one. So I had to go back and do that because so it's always important to make sure you update your 700, and you can always update it. So I think someone might go back and update them, because after they had the training, they learned more information.
Yeah, I think, and that seemed like a common unknown that people were not made aware of.
Yes.
So not your fault. It's just a
Yeah.
common unknown.
Yeah, it's a common one. So yeah,
Any aha moments?
I think so. Because I was looking at everybody. So I think there's like, oh, okay, it's just follow the rules and make sure we have our policy and procedures, understand the conflict of interest, and, just have ethics when you're making decisions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Juarez.
So I do have a
Oh, wait.
question. So how are new employees, so you get a new staff, just say next week, how do they go about receiving the same training as well?
I
Or
think
what's the
that's,
plan?
well, they're supposed to take it every year. So that's something we do have to include in orientation or somewhere with HR, that we do have to take that training. The 700 form has to be filled out every year, but it's very important for any managers or executive teams that they do take the ethic and code of conduct training. That's something they should take. But we have to do it every year. That's something we should be doing every year.
Could that be done in like the Keenan presentation, or does someone else have to do it live, or what's the HR component to?
So they would require to actually do them live. There's multiple
Okay.
pieces to the ethics piece, and so, and all the process. 700 form is like the ultimate piece of the conflict of interest.
Yeah.
pieces that we're actually presenting. Those are the most important ones, like, how do I know if I am doing something illegal? Having a conversation with somebody, I'm married to, I have to sell products in school, things like that. There's a lot of, it's actually required in full day training, and I think that's something that as HR looks into this and works with business.
I think as HR in collaboration with business should be planning these trainings. And we just offer those maybe quarterly, so that way there are new employees coming through, then they can go through that process. Usually management gets hired at the beginning of the year, so it's not so much of an issue, but if we have others that come through, then it's a time for us to do that. And I think that also superintendent's office is working and identifying additional folks that need to fill out the 700 forms.
Is that something that could be embedded in the hiring process?
I think it should.
It-
I think it really should be
Yeah.
put in there like a checklist of when the items that they need to do. And if they don't make that dateline, make sure they're enrolled for the next one that comes up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes line managers do get hired within half the year. So we need to make sure they get
Mhm.
that training.
Yeah, the whole onboarding process has to be revamped and basically add all those pieces that we're missing.
Are there any other questions? Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ms. Juarez. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on now to the approval of the first reading for board policies and administrative regulations on procurement. BPs/ARs 3300 through 3315 and BP/AR 3300. Expenditures expanded authority, BPAR 3310, purchasing procedures, BPAR 3311 bids, BPAR 3311.1, uniform public construction cost accounting procedures, AR 3311.2, leaseback contracts, AR 3311.3, design build contracts, AR 3311.4, procurement of technological equipment, BP 3312 contracts, BP 3312.2 educational travel programs, contracts, BPAR 3314 / payment for goods and services, BPAR 3314.2 revolving funds, BPARE 3314.3 district credit cards, BP 3315 relations with vendors. Can I get a motion?
Motion Stevens?
Zuluaga will second.
Open for discussion?
Is this where we can say we want to approve as a first reading? Does that need to be in the motion at all? So we don't have a
Ye-
second?
Yeah, it does, but I did have a question. I know when we went over the conversations in our policy, I don't remember some of these ones.
President Flores, if I may speak to that. Our office reviewed all these policies that are listed in here to ensure compliance with current state and federal law, and are recommending revisions. In many cases, they are minor revisions in order to ensure the correct citations and to make some updates where necessary, where the laws have changed. And also in the package appended to the agenda are the revisions that were made to, I think they are 3310, the BP and AR that the committee made special recommendations for amendment, and they are all before you now.
But we still didn't go over these in our policy committee meeting. And so that was part of the reason why we're able to approve some of them. But we wouldn't be able to approve all of them on a first reading because not all of them were pre-discussed before.
Then there would be wisdom in scheduling a special board meeting by May 31st in order to have the second reading. Because these include many procurement policies, and both the county superintendent and the audit and investigations division specified procurement policies and procedures. These list the procurement policies and and I beg your pardon, policies and regulations that were reviewed.
So I know it called for a procurement process. I don't quite remember if it called for all of the other ones that are on the list. Did it call for all of them on the list? Just procurement and record
keeping.
retentions are the only ones that were called out. Yeah. Okay, so, if you guys are all okay, I would like to, motion to approve the ones that we did cover, the procurement and the records retention. And then I want to amend it to pull the other ones and bring those ones back to a policy committee meeting before we bring it back to the board for review. And those ones won't stop us from meeting the deadlines.
Just the two. So we just need the two.
We just need the two.
Just the two.
The records retention are in another agenda item.
Mm.
This agenda item is only on the procurement matters. So on the procurement matters, again, in both the county superintendent's letter and the letter of the investigations and audit division, the procurement policies and regulations were stated as a general term. And in our opinion, these cover procurement policies and regulations that are before you on this list.
Okay, you guys are okay with motioning to amend and approve the procurement and the records retention with bringing the other ones back to the next board policy committee. Can I get a second?
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question to the attorney?
Yes, you may.
You agree with this movement?
As I understand it, the motion is to accept on a first reading the specific policy that was reviewed by the committee, which is, to my recollection, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 3310, entitled Purchasing Procedures.
And we went
Is my
over that.
recollection correct? I'm seeing nodding.
Yeah.
So, I would suggest that they be taken separately, that first a motion to approve tonight without the necessity for a second reading of that particular policy. And then the other procurement policies, and again, this one is just dealing with the procurement policies. Record retention is in the next agenda item, but on the procurement policies, it would be appropriate to make a motion that accepts them as a first reading tonight, and then a second reading would ensue. And it would be my recommendation that that second reading is made prior to on or before May 31st.
So we're not gonna meet, the question now and concern is we won't make it by the May 31st if we just don't have enough time to, okay, we're competing with time here and stuff.
Pursuant to, if I may, I'm sorry, President Flores, we can make an application for a reasonable extension in advance of that May 31st date. And the CDE division has informed us that upon a showing of good cause, such approval may be granted. And perhaps instead of May 31st, that would get us to the June 6th regular meeting, which is already scheduled for the second reading. And with good fortune, that would allow for the time for the policy committee to meet between now and that date. But we can make that application to the division pursuant to their March 10th letter. I think 2 weeks in advance of the deadline for that is a reasonable request, and we will interact with them and report back to the board as soon as possible.
Microphone. Council, are you sure we're gonna get the extension? Because if we don't get extension, we're being behind our businesses. So I want to make sure that it's a guarantee, maybe 75%, and then we get the extension.
I can't give odds. So we will certainly present the reasons for the extension. I think primarily are the boards and the district's inclusive practice of involving the public through that committee, the policy committee. And the policy committee apparently has not had the chance to review some of these policies. So that's an important step to take. And we would be seeking from them allowance to come into compliance with that May 31st date instead on June 6th. So not even a week, less than a week's extension in order to get that second reading at the regular board meeting of June 6th. And as I said, if the policy committee can meet between now and then, that would be crucial, because I think that's the piece we're waiting for, and that would be our cause for seeking that very brief extension.
Trustee Donaire, are you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Would you be willing to schedule another policy committee meeting before the June 29th scheduled meeting already?
Yes, I think I can find another date.
Okay, so because our next policy committee wasn't originally scheduled until June 29th. So we'll change the date to a sooner time. I see people in the audience that have been attending the committees, so we'll go ahead and approve the ones that we did go over today and meet that deadline. And then we will work on scheduling another day and put that out once we figure out a next day for that.
For a special board meeting.
There's a
correct?
special board meeting on top of the special.
By May 31st.
Yeah, by May
Okay.
31st.
Oh, wait.
So we'll have
Yeah.
like 3 weeks to get it done.
2 weeks. We need a special before.
If you schedule a special meeting on or before May 31st, there's no reason to ask for an extension.
Right. So I'm saying asking for an extension
Okay,
for the other ones.
for June.
Because we have to, if we're gonna try, we have to get it approved today to meet the May 31st deadline, and we're not gonna meet it if we have another.
Okay,
There's no way. We got graduations and everything else going on. We won't be able to make it in the next 2 weeks.
because we're just reviewing some of them and they look real minimal, so we'll just talk about them if they do need the revision on them.
I'm sorry.
We were looking at some of the ones that we didn't know about,
Uh-huh.
and they're very minimal little items, so maybe we need to look at them and review them with the committee to see if they need to be reviewed.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and ask for an extension. Are we okay with that, everybody? I don't not want to make that decision by myself, but are you guys okay with consensus? Asking for an extension, thumbs up? I can't see Donaire. Are you okay with asking for an extension, trustee Donald?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Okay. So a motion to approve 5.1 with the amendment to remove all of the others.
The motion should be specific, and I think it's been confirmed that it was 3310 was the only board policy and administrative regulation that the committee reviewed. And I understand that. So my suggestion for the motion would be to approve tonight without the need for a second reading, BPAR 3310, and to approve the balance of the policies in which is in 5.1 that are listed in 5.1 on just a first reading tonight, with a second reading to be scheduled And and I understand, and at at the board's direction, we will be contacting the Division of Audit Investigations in order to seek that brief extension. I would recommend to June 6th, which is the next regular meeting, if that were possible.
Okay, motion's on the floor. Can I get a
Second.
sec? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Council, we voting separate. It's two different ones, so it's got to be everything together.
I'm sorry, trustee Mendez, I didn't catch your
Okay.
question.
Thank you.
I didn't, okay.
President Angela Ann Flores,
Yes.
Vice President Kenita Stevens.
Yes.
Clerk Sophia Colon,
Yes.
trustee Donald Nair,
Yes.
trustee Cecilia Mendez,
Yes.
trustee Alicia Rico,
Yes.
trustee Raymond Zulueta.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Moving on to item 5.2, approval of the first reading for board policy and administrative regulation on record retention BP/AR 3580 district records. Can I get a motion?
Again, President Flores, the motion, as
Can
I
I-
understand it, would be to
Motion
accept
to
it
approve on a first reading
without the need for a second.
without the need for a second reading. Can I get a second?
Second, Stevens.
Open for discussion? No discussion? Roll call vote, please.
President Angela Ann Flores,
Yes.
Vice President Kenita Stevens.
Yes.
Clerk Sophia Colon,
Yes.
trustee Donald Nair,
Yes.
trustee Cecilia Mendez,
Yes.
trustee Alicia Rico,
I'm staying.
trustee Raymond Zulueta.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0 with one abstention from trustee Rico.
Moving on to item 5.3, approval of first reading for board bylaw, board policy, administrative regulation, exhibit BBBPAR/E, BB 9271, Code of Ethics, BB 9270, Conflict of Interest, E 9270, Conflict of Interest, BP 4119.21 -4219-21, 4319.21 Code of Ethics, E 4119.21, 4219.21 -4319.21, Code of Ethics, BP 9005, Governance Standards, E, and NBSP 4319.21, California Professional Standards for Educational Leaders, and the Statement of Economic Interest Form 700 Guidelines and Procedures. Can I get a motion?
I motion.
Can I get a second?
For the record, I would encourage the same specificity as with the last motion, that it's approved, as I understand it, without the need second.
We've done these ones already a few times. These have came to we've had the first reading already, and then we took it to the policy committee, and it's been here a few times. We had to keep bringing it back, right? These are the ones, Yvette, right? I see you want to say something.
Yes, these have come previously. And so I think what legal is trying to say that we would have to clarify, we're approving without the need of
A second
a
reading.
second.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Motion to approve without the need of a second reading. And it's been seconded by Cologne. I motioned. Cologne will second. Open for discussion. Roll call vote?
President Angela Ann Flores,
Yes.
Vice President Kenita Stevens.
Yes.
Clerk Sophia Colon,
Yes.
trustee Donald Nair,
Yes.
trustee Cecilia Mendez,
Yes.
trustee Alicia Rico,
Yes.
trustee Raymond Zulueta.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Moving on to item 5.4, approval of the first reading for board policy and administrative regulation BP/AR 5145.7 sexual harassment and administrative regulation 5145.71 title IX sexual harassment complaint procedures. Can I get a motion to approve as a first reading and waive the second reading?
I motion Stevens.
I'll second. Flores? Open for discussion? Roll call vote, please.
President Angeline Flores,
Yes.
Vice President Kenita Stevens.
Yes.
Clerk Sophia Colon,
Yes.
Trustee Donald Daener,
Yes.
Trustee Cecilia Mendez,
Yes.
Trustee Alicia Rico,
Yes.
Trustee Raymond Zulueta.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Moving on to item 6.1, oral suggestions and comments from the community regarding closed session agenda items. And Yvette will announce the number of public comments and request each person to provide the public comment in the order they were received. And Abby will be the timekeeper.
Thank you, Madam President. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes, and we have one comment card regarding agenda item 7.1, and it comes from Mr. Harpreet Chima.
Yeah, I might have missed it, but I just wanted to ask if we could get clarity as the public as to why we didn't know about these other board agenda items ahead of time. I think it's unfortunate that we're not going to meet the deadlines, and so it's going to be something that could have been successful for the district, for the new board especially. So yeah, just wanted clarification on that. Thanks.
Madam President, that concludes public comment.
We will now move on to 6.2. The board will consider in closed session items listed in closed session by our Vice President, Kenita Stevens.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. The board will consider in closed session 7.1A, public employee appointment and employment, 54957B, title superintendent. Back to you, Trustee Flores.
Okay, and we will now go ahead and recess to closed session at 6:33 p.m. Oh, wow. Okay. I just want to give you guys a heads up. We are going into closed session until 10 p.m. Could be up to 10 is what I'm being informed right now. So if you don't choose to stay, I totally understand. Just give a heads up. And what I'm being informed is not much. It's just us up here with the superintendent stuff. So it will be looking at all of the candidates and it's stuff that we have to do internal at this level. And so we will communicate as much as we can when we can. Okay. So go ahead and enjoy a coffee, Starbucks, dinner. Think of us while we're upstairs. You guys have been working hard. Go enjoy the rest of your day. We all here? Okay. Welcome back. 6:33. We'd like to reconvene to public session at 8:54, and Christina will read the language under public content.
In order to help assure compliance with the Brown Act and in order to make our board meetings more effective and more efficient, trustees will speak only when recognized, and trustees will speak on a topic other than the agenda item currently under consideration will be out of order. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Christina. What, 8.2, action taken in closed session by our Vice President, Kanita Stevens.
So there was no action taken for item 3.0, public employee appointment and employment title superintendent. Nothing to report.
And we would like to adjourn the meeting at 8:55.